9-year-old Maria Masako starts her day like any child, washing up, looking for her homework to take to school, except she's already like the rest of the adult women in Bangula camp. She's helping her family by preparing this food that will be their meal for the rest of the day. Like the woman in Bangula, she's first in line when it comes to thinking of the family. In an emergency situation, women and children can be last in line for having their own special needs met. For UN agencies, an effective humanitarian response to disasters depends on the cluster system to sustain the daily needs of all survivors. Here, most of them are women. The cluster groups include UN agencies and implementing partners that target needs like shelter, food, nutrition, protection. UN Women supports each cluster in a unique way.
UN Women's mandate is to enhance and strengthen the gender integration and implementation of that across the UN system. So we are here to support WFP, to support UNICEF, to better integrate those gender issues.
The protection cluster is headed by UNICEF and is gender sensitive. It focuses on issues like care for lactating mothers or for pregnant women who have their own needs. Mothers like Gladys Alston can take their children who are under 5 to the Child-Based Community Center, or CBCC, run by UNICEF. Naomi is 3, feels safe, and is making new friends in this child-friendly space. Maria fights for attention at school, run by UNICEF, in a class where there are 2 teachers for more than 300 students. Like others, she copes without school materials and struggles to learn her math the best way she can. Maria's mother, Evelyn, is also struggling by herself to keep her family of 6 children intact. UN Women is working together with other partners in the cluster system to ensure that the special needs of families like Evelyn's are met in a gender-sensitive way. For the women in Bangula who are coping to survive in emergency conditions, it is a special moment when their own needs are met, like this distribution of dignity kits. UN Women works with partners like Gold Malawi to provide these kits that include personal hygiene items. Only a few hundred kits were available to distribute, despite the needs for thousands. Gladys was fortunate and knew the purpose of the hygiene items, but she had never seen packages of this quality. A basic need that most women don't have, especially in emergencies, that help give a woman dignity. In Bangula camp, families are broken up as women and men sleep in separate tents. Caregivers for protection services that women normally depend on are not available because they are also victims of the disaster. The prevalence of gender-based violence in Malawi is normally 40%. The potential for GBV can increase in a disaster situation.
It has been a very tough time because from April, is it 10th to date, we have recorded about 32 cases just here at Bangula camp.
UN Women is working with volunteers like Regina Majoni and Cecilia Chirunda, who give counseling to victims of GBV in these safe spaces, where survivors of GBV are free from threats of violence and trauma. They are trained by the Warwick NGO through UNFPA. UN Women supports them by providing survivors of GBV with free legal aid. Women are also exposed to new kinds of abuses in disaster situations, where they risk exploitation in exchange for food and shelter, abuses that can come from local authorities. UN Women is working with local chiefs to ensure they are gender sensitive.
The moment if any chief does something very bad, the only remedy is to chuck him from the responsibility, to get rid of him, because our responsibility normally is to protect and make sure that our subjects are well protected. And then if we as chiefs do that things, it's not on, because we are giving in very bad examples.
Women also have to overcome fears that reporting gender-based violence is not a priority in a humanitarian crisis, when there is more concern about food security and shelter. The Malawi Human Rights Commission sent teams to camps like Bangula to assess the human rights impact of the flood disaster on women.
We're forgetting it's a human rights issue. The woman is undergoing psychological and emotional, pain. So I think definitely when we came and we said we really want to talk about human rights and some of the things that you have experienced, and specifically we'll talk about sexual and gender-based violence, then they begin to remember. But because they did not have that kind of atmosphere to talk about it so freely, then they began to realize, when I went through this, but I just did not have that platform. I would now like to report it or follow up on what happened to my case. So definitely, yes, there was an increase.
To help deter violence, UN Women provides support for the deployment of police and citizen patrols to ensure the safety of women, especially at night. Whistles provided by UN Women and UNICEF are distributed for women and girls to use when faced with a threat. Still, many women do not feel safe enough and are living with a daily fear. UN Women is working with local authorities who are becoming more gender sensitive to challenges like this.
You find that already in a normal situation, they are already not empowered. Now you can imagine now in a situation where they have moved from a place where they're already not empowered and now they're in a camp. Whatever happens there is something else which you cannot comprehend. You find that the women will be exposed to other issues.
Tradition is slowly giving way to the new in Bangula camp. Sophia is illiterate and doesn't know how old she is, but thinks it's too late to learn and says it's the last thing she needs. It's why she's also last in line. She only knows she must provide for the family the best way she can. "75% of the adult women in Bangula camp are illiterate, and some of them have decided to no longer be last in line for their own special needs. They are trying to change their life by going to school."
Kupeza ndalama zoyambira business.
People like Maria's mother not only seeking self-improvement through this class, but thinking about practical things that women should be aware of in the future.
Ine monga muntu amayi chimene ndachona choti tidakata kusintha pakampu pano ndi monga ngati chikhalidwe cha anthu amayi ena anzathu amayi sakukhala mozipirira, tinkafuna kuti ayesese kuti akhale mozipirira ngati munthu amayi komanso nkhani ya maleredwe a munthu amayi.
UN Women works with local officials to advocate for changes in attitude and behavior at the grassroots level.
We have to sit down also with most of the chiefs and others that I think we have to look at what exactly women face from day to day in terms of disaster. But we have to start not even on disasters, because the problem starts beyond maybe the disasters.
Disasters, conflicts, or other kind of emergencies impact men and women in different ways, and boys and girls in different ways. Therefore, our response from the start has to take into account those differences. And we cannot think that one response will be able to satisfy and respect the position of all those groups.
Maria, still a child, sings about obeying her mother. She has learned how to count and has the confidence to teach her own mother. Doing their homework together and learning how to put themselves first in line for their own needs.